Welcome to the deep dive. Really excited about today's show. We're unpacking a story that, honestly, it just floored me. It's a personal account focusing on betrayal, yeah, but also hidden truths and this incredible journey of self-discovery that follows. Our source material comes from some really powerful excerpts of a personal narrative. It's called The Echo of Unseen Truths. And it's one woman's raw, really revealing story, our mission today, to kind of distill its most potent insights, appearances versus reality, and explore how she rebuilt her life after just devastation. Okay, let's dive in. So our story centers on Isabella. She's 36, an accounting assistant in Denver. Her husband, Tyler, also 36, a sales team leader. And the source describes him as having a polished appearance, a persuasive voice, always dressed in crisp shirts with a trace of expensive cologne. Looks like they have it all figured out from the outside. But things take a turn. June 12th, it's supposed to be a big day, their 8th wedding anniversary and Tyler's 36th birthday. Isabella goes all out, takes a half day off work, drives like 30 minutes just to get his favorite red wine, buys Wagyu short ribs. She even strings lights around the balcony, gets a custom vanilla cake delivered, sets everything up. She sits down to wait at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. rolls around. Nothing. 9 p.m. Still nothing. She texts him, "I'm waiting." No reply. 9:30 p.m. she tries calling. Straight to voicemail. Then finally at 10:35 p.m. this cold email lands in her inbox from Tyler. It just says, "Sorry, big client emergency. I have to stay at the office. We'll make it up later." That's it. No thank you. No happy anniversary. Nothing. The candles burn out. The cake's untouched. She's just holding this folded napkin. And she says she didn't cry, but, quote, "Something inside my chest shifted out of place." It wasn't the first time he was late, but this felt different. A quiet, creeping instinct.
Yeah, it's chilling, isn't it? How that seemingly small thing, the missed celebration, the brevity of that email, it acts as the first real crack. It's not just the event itself, it's the coldness, the complete lack of thought. It just screams that something bigger is wrong, way beyond a busy schedule. What we're seeing here is the illusion starting to, well, crumble. Not dramatically, but with this quiet, chilling indifference.
It totally sets the tone. So next morning, Isabella goes to work. Still no message from Tyler. Nothing. She's getting uneasy, right? Calls his office around noon. The receptionist sounds hesitant and then just drops this bomb. "Oh, he resigned 3 days ago. He didn't leave any forwarding information."
Can you even imagine the shock? Isabel realizes it wasn't about work or a client. He had chosen to vanish, and his wife of 8 years, was the last to know.
Just devastating. She rushes home right after work. The apartment feels thick with silence, suffocating. And her eyes go straight to the shoe rack. There's this glaring empty space in the second row, his favorite brown leather shoes. Gone. She finds him in the bedroom. He's packing. An open suitcase on the bed. Inside, a navy suit, a tie, brand new dress shoes, tags still on, stuff she says he never wore to any regular meetings. She asks him, "What are you doing?" And he just says super casually that he took a new job in Albuquerque. Isabella's stunned. "You quit your job and didn't say a word to me." He doesn't even answer that. Instead, he pulls out this slim folder from his bag, puts it on the table, the first page. Divorce papers.
Wow. That kind of calculated silent exit. It's not just ending a marriage. It's a profound act of control, almost dehumanizing, really. Psychologically, you sometimes see this with people who, well, they struggle with accountability. They project their own issues onto others. Tyler isn't just leaving. He's trying to systematically erase her, rewrite their whole history to protect his own image. Regardless of the cost to her, it's strategic.
And then he looks at her, eyes like steel, apparently, and starts blaming her. "You're no longer the wife I need. You always put work first. The house is dusty. You only cook on weekends. You don't care about me anymore." Just like that. Isabel is gripping these papers, trying to defend herself. She lists everything, cooking, cleaning, but he'd come home late, ignored all, told her not to touch his desk. She worked, paid half the rent. She says, "No one cooks dinner for me, no one asks if I'm okay, and I never complained."
Yeah, the classic deflection.
Exactly. But Tyler just snaps back, "Don't bring up petty things. You just make excuses. A real wife doesn't need reminders." He zips his suitcase, heads for the door, says he's already rented an apartment, starts next week. Isabel actually blocks the door, asks for an apology, some explanation after 8 years. His response, "I don't owe you anything," just brushes past her, doesn't even look back. The door clicks shut. Final and cold like the slam of a courtroom gavel, she writes. She just sinks to the floor, hands trembling. And it gets colder. Just 2 days later, the building management calls Isabella. Tyler had put in a request to transfer the lease and terminate the contract. He left a note for them. It said, "I no longer live there. The person staying behind will clear out and move before the end of the month."
Wow. Just the person staying behind.
Right, like she's just some obstacle. She finds out later almost everything, sofa, fridge, you name it, was under her name. Tyler only took his clothes and a few small tech gadgets, like he was just shedding his old skin, leaving all the baggage, literally, for her to deal with.
It's an astonishing level of coldness. It really is. He leaves her not just with the emotional wreck, but the practical nightmare of dismantling their home. It fits with what we were saying about his detachment. He wasn't just ending it, he was strategically unburdening himself, emotionally, physically, zero consideration. And Isabella's insight there. Tyler left like a stranger, but it was that very coldness that finally woke me up. That feels like a real turning point.
A huge one. So the divorce papers just sit there on the table for 3 days. Isabella writes, the only explanation she could find was Tyler's brutal silence. Then she gets this notification, her 18-year high school reunion. She'd always imagined going with Kyler, the stable couple.
Yeah.
Now, it's just her and this hollow feeling. She almost skips it. But she looks in the mirror, sees a trace of dignity, and decides to go. Dresses simply. Not to impress anyone, she says, just to remind myself I still existed. She gets to the brewery, Moonlight Brewery, feels totally out of place at first. Then she hears a familiar voice. It's Nathan, guy who played bass in the school band way back when. They grab a small table. Nathan shares he's been divorced 3 years, raising his little girl on his own. And Isabella notes his tone. No bitterness, no dramatics, just quiet truths. When he asks about Tyler, she just says it straight. We're getting divorced, no pity. And Nathan just nods, changes the subject. She writes she was quietly grateful for that simple act of, understanding.
That reunion is so key for her, isn't it? She actually chose to show up for herself, to step out of that lonely pain and into a different kind of connection. One based on quiet truths, shared experience, like you said, not curated appearances or pretending everything's perfect. It's a massive step in reclaiming herself. She needed authenticity, and Nathan, just by being normal, offered it.
Yeah. Driving home that night, this old song comes on the radio. It's not right, but it's okay. And the lyrics just hit her hard. Brings up all these memories, cold dinners left untouched, unread messages, and hugs that had faded into nothing. She realizes for years she'd been telling herself, Tyler's busy, I should be more understanding, I just need to try harder. The usual excuses.
Oh, absolutely. We see that constantly.
But then she writes, facing the bare truth, I realized I had lived like a shadow, always finding reasons to excuse someone else's neglect.
That is such a common and really insidious pattern in relationships where one person's just checked out emotionally. You see people like Isabella constantly rationalizing, minimizing, trying to fix something for someone who isn't even in the game anymore, her realizing she lived like a shadow. That's a huge internal shift, moving from blaming herself to just seeing clearly. The spell breaks.
It really does. And this new clarity, it gives her strength. Sunday morning, phone rings. It's Tyler. His voice is flat, like giving an order. I've informed the leasing office we're terminating the contract by the end of the month. You should start packing. But Isabella stays calm this time. She asks, you don't think you should have asked if I had somewhere else to go? His reply, so blunt. You're an adult. Figure it out. But Isabella doesn't crumble. She speaks slowly, firmly. Good, I'll sign. And then adds, and don't call again. Don't talk to me like I'm still the one keeping your house in order. Hangs up. No hesitation, she says.
For her.
She sits down at the table, looks at the divorce papers again. Then, as if closing a chapter that had long since rotted, she picks up the pen, signs her name. Not a single tremor in my hand, not a single tear, just clarity after so many years clouded by hollow promises.
Wow, that's powerful. Finding clarity amidst the chaos.
Okay, so fast forward exactly 1 week after she submits the signed divorce papers via her attorney. Late night email from Tyler around 10 p.m. Subject line. Just one word.
Okay.
Proof.
Hummus.
She opens it. It's a photo, a marriage certificate, groom. Tyler, Robert James Ride.
Yeah.
Bride, Marissa Ellis Whitmore, stamped in deep red. Bernalillo County, New Mexico. And the date of registration, exactly 1 day after the court finalized their divorce.
1 day. Wow, okay.
Before she can even process it, her phone rings. Tyler. His voice is, she says, disturbingly triumphant. You saw it, right? I got remarried. Life's never been better. He just launches into it. Isabella stays silent, listens as he gushes about Marissa. It's Marissa, 36, just like you. But she's mature, gentle, and so beautiful you'd be jealous, his words.
Oh, the comparison. Classy.
Yeah. Right. He boasts that Marissa is the only daughter of the family that owns the Whitmore real estate chain in Santa Fe. Her parents built us a small house, apparently, and helped him become the executive vice president at her company. Then he circles back to blaming Isabella again, saying he just couldn't keep living with a woman who always put work first and neglected her role as a wife. And get this, his new wife chose to take care of the home, and also we're expecting a baby girl. She's 3 Verks pregnant.
It's just a remarkable display, isn't it? The projection, the status chasing. He's not just sharing news, he's actively trying to rewrite his past. He's justifying leaving Isabella by doubling down on those old criticisms while simultaneously showing off his new, upgraded life built on wealth and status. The focus isn't love, it's validation. It's all about making his choices seem right.
Exactly. Isabella wrote that hearing all this, each sentence felt like a dull blade severing the final thread. But instead of pain, she just felt this hollow stillness. But then, that name, Marissa Whitmore, starts to ring a bell. Sounds familiar. She opens Facebook, types it in. Profile photo pops up. Stunning woman, soft blonde waves, sharp blue eyes, a smile that could make anyone feel small. Isabella scrolls down through the photos. About 10 photos in, she freezes. Marissa, she realizes, was the girl who went to high school with me for 3 years.
No way.
Yes, but her name back then was Marissa Ellis. And she looked totally different. Scrawny, had squinty eyes, a flat nose, and blotchy skin from makeup allergies. Apparently, she got teased for bunny teeth and always looked down when walking. The woman in Tyler's wedding photo, completely transformed. Not a trace of the old Marissa Ellis remained. But Isabella recognized something. Those eyes, that slightly crooked tooth, the way she always looked down, it clicked. So Isabella calls Lana, her best friend from high school, asks about Marissa Ellis. Lana just laughs, confirms everything. Marissa changed completely after moving to New York to study art. Went through multiple plastic surgeries, chin, nose, eyes, jawline.
The whole 9 yards.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Lana said her personality, though, still the same, quiet, calculating, and very strategic about who she latches onto. Lana even mentions this rumor about Marissa being involved with a much older married architect in Brooklyn before she moved back home to New Mexico.
Isabella.
Whereas I had no more questions. Looking at that wedding photo later, she knew behind all that was layers of makeup, carefully crafted image, and a well-disguised motive. Just 2 people living a lie.
And that revelation about Marissa just throws that theme of occurrences versus reality into such sharp focus. Both Tyler and Marissa, it seems, invested so much energy, literally and figuratively, into crafting these entirely new personas, running from their past to achieve some kind of status. It points to this deep insecurity, right? Where their real selves just weren't deemed good enough. They built a relationship, essentially, on manufactured identities, and Isabella's discovery just rips that curtain back.
Totally. So, about a week after Tyler's bragging call, Isabella gets a text. Unknown number. Isabella, are you free? I need to talk. It's serious. She knows it's him, but ignores it. 15 minutes later, the unknown number calls. She picks up. It's Tyler. He says immediately, Marissa gave birth, a baby girl. Then silence. Then he adds, she doesn't look like me. Or Marissa.
Yeah.
Actually, she doesn't look like either of us.
Uh-oh.
Isabella just says lightly, maybe she takes after someone on your side of the family.
Uh-huh.
Tyler's voice gets high, panicked. Isabella, do you remember when you laughed hysterically after I told you about Marissa? You knew something, didn't you?
So this is where it hits the fan. Where that carefully built image crashes into the undeniable reality of genetics. The baby becomes this living symbol of inherited truth. The past they tried so hard to erase. Their denial has literally manifested, and tragically, it's the innocent child who carries that weight. Like the universe saying, nope, you can't outrun your DNA.
And Isabella knows it. She leans back, apparently with a little smirk. I just found it interesting, she replies calmly. Tyler insists he did a DNA test. The baby is mine, but I still don't get it. Why doesn't she look like either of us? He says he hasn't told anyone else. Isabel chuckles quietly. Do you remember your high school graduation album? She asks. Silence on his end. I found it while packing up the old apartment, she continues. Describes the photo. A curly-haired boy with squinty eyes, crooked teeth, and acne-covered skin. It took me a few minutes to realize it was you.
Oof. The truth bomb.
She goes on. Says she always wondered why he never introduced college friends in 8 years, why the small wedding, why no teenage photos anywhere. Now I understand. Tyler quietly admits he changed because he was insecure. But Isabella's reply is just devastatingly poignant. No, she says, I said I feel sorry for an innocent child who's going to grow up with 2 parents who couldn't be honest. You hid your past, so did Marissa, and now you're surprised your daughter doesn't resemble the edited versions you both constructed. You think she's going to look like that old version of me?
Oh, wow.
She adds, no one knows, but she will carry what's real in you. Your blood, your DNA, everything you've tried to erase.
What Isabella says there is just incredibly insightful. She's nailing the profound cost of living inauthentically.
Yeah.
All that energy spent denying the past, it has to go somewhere. And here it manifests in the symbol of their new life, their child. It's this Stark reminder. You can curate an image, sure, but you can't escape your essence. That child is living proof of the truth they tried to bury.
Such a heavy truth. Tyler just inhales deeply on the phone. Isabella then asks, what about Marissa? How's she handling it? Tyler tells her Marissa cried, said she was exhausted from labor. But you know what's worse? He pauses. She won't hold the baby.
Oh, no.
Every time she looks at the child's face, she turns away.
Huh.
Yesterday, her mom had to step in and hold the baby because she refused.
Huh. Isabella stays quiet, feeling this bitter heaviness, she says, not for Tyler, but for this child, already rejected. She lowers her voice. You once said I failed as a wife because I wasn't willing to sacrifice, but the one rejecting his role as a father is you.
Mm.
He does. Taylor sighs, starts to say something, but Isabella cuts him off. You don't need advice from me. I just hope you don't project your shame onto that baby. She didn't do anything wrong. Ends the call. Blocks his number. Done.
Wow. Wow, closure. Yeah. So nearly a year after that final call, Isabella writes she barely remembered his presence in my life. Why? Because she'd fill the empty spaces. She moved, got a small apartment in Boulder. It's a 10-minute walk from her work. Balcony overlooks Green Hills. Sounds lovely. Mornings aren't dreaded anymore. She wakes early, makes coffee, just breathes. Finds peace in the quiet. She kept her accounting job, but she reduced my hours. I chose a life of balance instead of burnout, chasing things that were never meant for me. Smart.
Very smart, taking control.
She enrolled in a weekend art class, reconnected with old friends, including Nathan, the guy from the reunion. She writes about their connection. We didn't tie each other down with promises or expectations, just quiet afternoons and simple companionship between two people who valued peace.
That is just profoundly compelling. That deliberate shift she made from trying to try harder for someone else, constantly seeking external validation, to actively sculpting a life around her own well-being. Prioritizing genuine connection, internal balance. It's a total pivot. Building her life from the inside out, choosing authenticity over illusion. That's real transformation.
It really is. And the story doesn't quite end there. It comes full circle. One afternoon, early autumn, Isabella bumps into Lana, her high school friend, at a used bookstore. Lana leans in and whispers, "You haven't heard anything about Tyler, have you?" Isabella shakes her head. "Well," Lana says, "Marissa's looking for a divorce attorney."
Not surprising, sadly.
And Lana adds, "Word is Tyler cheated again with a new hire at his wife's company. Apparently Marissa found out 3 months ago, but kept quiet for the child's sake."
Patterns repeating.
Seems like it. Isabella asks about the little girl. Lana says she's almost 3 now. Then Lana shows Isabella a screenshot from a preschool parent group chat or something. It reads, "There's a new girl in class. Her mom had full plastic surgery. Somehow the kids found out and started teasing her, saying, 'Your mom used to be ugly.'"
Oh, that's heartbreaking. For the child.
Awful. The post said the poor thing cried all week. Lana adds, "Marissa regrets having the baby. She thought the child would inherit her post-surgery beauty, but now it's obvious the girl carries the original genes."
And there it is, the ultimate consequence of living that lie. It's just devastating. The very thing they tried so hard to erase their real origins, their past selves, it's embodied in their child. And tragically, she's the one suffering the fallout from their choices, their deceptions, carrying that unerasable truth. It's such a stark lesson about pretending. The ripple effects can be so painful.
Isabella reflects on this, writing that Tyler and Marissa once chose a version of life wrapped in glitter, built on illusions of beauty, status, and control. But in the end, what couldn't be hidden, the past, the truth, and the way they treated others, was what showed up the clearest when they had a child.
Perfectly put.
Isabella's life now. She says it has no drama, no major twists, but it has rhythm, autonomy, and a fullness I once thought I'd never touch. She feels gratitude, she writes, because the collapse of her marriage actually gave her the chance to be reborn, not into someone new, but into myself. No compromises, no avoidance, no pretending to be okay. And she ends with this thought. If anyone ever asks if she's forgiven Tyler, she'll probably smile and say, "I don't need to forgive anyone. I just need to live true to myself." And she says she can say that now without hesitation.
What a journey.
Incredible. So this deep dive really illustrates it, doesn't it? Appearances might fool the world for a while, but time always reveals the truth. And Isabella's strength is remarkable. She didn't seek revenge or get bitter. She just walked away quietly and rebuilt her entire life from the inside out. Found freedom, peace, her actual self.
Absolutely. And maybe this leaves us all with a compelling thought to chew on. In a world so obsessed with, curated images and quick fixes, what authentic truth about yourself might you be waiting to embrace and share? What are we hiding, maybe even from ourselves?
That's a great question to end on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope Isabella's story gives you something to reflect on those big themes of truth, authenticity, and yeah, the real consequences of the choices we make.